Welcome to Golden Isles TV. I'm your host, Avery Brooks, and we're here with Regina McDuffie, City Manager for the City of Brunswick. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Good, very well, thank you. I'm really noticing your butterfly in the back, and it looks great.
Yeah, that's my little kite. I haven't had a chance to fly it lately. We normally have a kite flying event during May, so it may be upcoming. I just don't have it on my calendar yet.
Right, nice. Well, it certainly is colorful.
Well, starting off the month, I mean, we have had so much going on with the city. We had our budget presentation, that's usually the first meeting in May for um, the budget to be presented to the commissioners. So I did want to talk a little bit about that in addition
Yes,
to,
let's start with that, I guess.
okay, well, we start our budget process in March, kind of working with the departments and getting their budget request reviewed and formulated. And then we go into a review process where we have budget meetings and determine what money that we're going to get. And I can send you some information if you want to kind of put it on the screen, that shows the budget information. So we are proposing a $20 million budget, which is a milestone for Brunswick. Our budget, when I started here, it was about $16 million. So we have had some revenue growth, has had some, expenditure growth as well, but mainly revenue growth. And, we always talk about taxes, and certainly we go through a process of evaluation. Unfortunately, well, we will keep our millage rate the same and cannot reduce the taxes because we are trying to incorporate the recreation department and operation into the city's budget again. And that's going to cost over $1 million. So we're having to, use our revenue to help support that effort. So the city's budget this year will be $20,257,000. We plan to use some of our ARPA money for revenue recovery, which we will put towards some specific programs and initiatives. I think what I'd like to say about the budget, it has a lot of support for housing development. I think it's all, a lot of it is all about housing, other than, the normal activity that we have with fire, police, public works, and our administrative offices. Housing is a key component of this budget. So I'm hopeful that the things that we do will start to clean up some of the blight in the community, and also start to invest in redevelopment and revitalizing the housing inventory in the community.
Right. Can you speak a little bit more specifically about that, the housing? When you say the housing, do you mean talk about that a little bit more specifically?
Well, we are undergoing a housing study, and that's not been published yet. I have seen some of the information, but Brunswick has not had a lot of growth in the number of houses that have been provided to our community. Our growth over the last 20 years has been less than 10%. Meaning that we haven't had new houses in our community. And a lot of the older houses are, have become dilapidated or, in ear repair. So we really need to, in order to grow our community and promote more, growth and population increase, need to have better housing for our citizens. You look around the community, there are some nice homes. Most of them are occupied, but then there are some homes that need a lot of rehabilitation. There's some vacant lots. There are some blighted houses that need to be torn down. And then there's some ones that need to be rehabilitated or repaired. So what we're looking at is looking at the ones that need to be rehabilitated, seeing if we can get, contractors and people to come in and help redevelop those, as well as some of the vacant lots, build new homes on those lots. And hopefully, they will fit into the community and revitalize the areas that we're targeting.
Right. So yeah, just an overall very comprehensive housing plan. I like what you're saying about taking a vacant lot, building something new, revitalizing something that's already there, plus building, building new in addition to that. So it sounds very comprehensive and a great way to implement.
Yeah, and I for one would like to promote home ownership as well during that process. We have a lot of renters. Like I said, the housing study has shown us that 64% of the residents in Brunswick rent their property. And, I think the younger generation, they don't want a lot of maintenance. They don't want a lot of headaches. So rent is a, key component to their starting life. However, I want people to understand, home ownership is one of the economic stabilizers. When you can own a home, you can, gain equity in that home, which gives you the ability to leverage other purchases, such as car purchases or, other large purchases by having that equity and having that, I guess, investment in a home. So to me, economic stability comes with um, having and owning a home. So we want to encourage that and promote it and help people engage in trying to purchase homes. We will provide, whatever type of housing, rental housing, low income housing, low to moderate income, workforce housing, all of that will be components of what we do. But we also want to encourage people, to own their own homes.
Yes, makes sense. And I like the way you said that. I think some people don't realize that building equity in a home allows you then to do other things, which then boosts the economy. And just sort of hearing it sort of put all together is interesting for people to understand.
Yeah, I think, people don't think about it and again, economic stability, I think, is one of the critical aspects of this community that we need to make improvements in. And it's not about the city's economics. Well, overall, I guess at the end of the day, it does impact the city's economics. But I think for a person's, life and lifestyle, I think it helps their economic stability. And that's what I would like to see.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We look forward to that.
Okay. Well, again, our budget, we have the recreation that's going to start up. It's scheduled to start September 1st. Some of the activities that started during the summer, such as football and cheerleading, the county will continue that process since they've started it. But after, we will probably start promoting some of the winter sports because once we start, that's the registration periods that will be coming up. So the city and county are working very well together right now to transition the recreation portion back to the city. And, there's a lot of logistical things that are being worked on to get that done. We are also looking at our transportation, public transportation. We've been working on this for quite some time, and we want to roll that out, probably not this calendar year, but during the fiscal year at the mid-year next year. So that's another initiative, we are looking at to just bring about change in the community. I tell people public transportation, if you have a car, yes, you don't need it, but there's a lot of people who don't have cars. And you and I know, even if you have a car, sometimes when, you have to have your car in the shop or there's something, wrong that may not be able to be repaired immediately. Transportation is a critical issue, in work and in getting to places that you need to go. So I think really the public transportation system needs to be supportive of people to, again, help that economic stability.
Right. Yeah. Once again, that plays a key role. So we're so glad y'all are, it sounds like really putting the pieces together because, yeah, you can, if you don't have a car that day, oh, whoops, it took longer than you thought. The next thing you know, you lose your job. Like it's all tied together.
Yeah, I had a situation where my son, his driver's license, he had some problems with his driver's license being canceled. And so and it took almost 3.5 months for him to get that, paperwork and information and everything processed, because it was a medical issue and he needed to get a doctor's appointment. And he was trying to find ways back and forth to work for over almost 3 months. And it was, difficult.
Yeah.
And, people lose their jobs because of it, not having stable transportation. So that's a key element, I think, in trying to provide that economic stability to people, to help them, be able to go to work, be able to have adequate, and reliable transportation. And, that gives them the stability to work. And then it may give them the stability to, be a homeowner at some point. So,
Right. Yes. And in addition to that, bringing people here, if they're coming to Brunswick, they're looking at the city. If there's good transportation in place, that may make a big difference to them, and they may choose to move here based solely on transportation.
yeah, and I would love for the system. We're looking at a micro transit system, which is sort of like a public Uber, but it's not a personal individual. It's more of a group type Uber, public transportation type system. That's what we're looking at. And I'm hopeful that that will be something that will not only help the residents, but help the visitors and help other people, the elderly and anyone who needs assistance through transportation, public transportation. So we have a visit coming up to go to Valdosta to look at their system, because they started up a year and a half ago, and we wanted to see, what kind of challenges they had, what kind of successes they have had, and what are some of the, best practices that they have used or become aware of in operating their system.
Right. That would be great. I was going to say, anytime you can look at other cities to see what they've done and their successes is helpful. So that's great.
Yeah, I'm big at always trying to work through things and making sure, we look at everything and try to start off on the right foot. I don't want to start down the wrong path and, say, well, we didn't know. I'd rather look at something that, is working and try and pattern, maybe not directly after, but at least some of the components of it that are working and successful, and we feel that we'll be successful in our community.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So what else for the month of May?
Well, May is a kind of a culmination. I'm glad to have May here because, we started out the year with a lot of activities. We had the retreat that came up in 1st of March. We had the Georgia Cities Week that we just ended in April. We had the State of the City that was in March, and some other activities going on. We do have the Wellness Walk. It's not until June 3rd. It's the first weekend in June, but it is one of the things that, we started out the first of the year planning. And so the Wellness Walk is coming up June 3rd, and it'll start at Mary Ross Park. And it'll end at Mary Ross Park. And we really want to promote the activity for that going forward. We would like for people to register, and I'll send you the flyer for it as well so that you can put it on the show. But that will be a 5K walk or run or bike. So it'll be just a day of community fun. And, we are asking people to register. And so we will provide that information to you. So, yeah, we're looking forward to that. Again, just promoting health and wellness.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Great way to start off the summer.
Yeah. The weather has been really great. We really have enjoyed a lot of good weather. We had like I said, the last week was the Georgia Cities Week. And I wanted to also highlight the fact that we had essay contest winners, and I'll send you this as well. So maybe you can put it on. So the people who won our contest will have, that exposure so that people will know that they have, won that information.
Okay.
So yeah, we are proud of that. But yeah, last week when we had the employee appreciation, which was Friday, it had threatened rain, but it ended up just being a gorgeous day. So I was very, glad to be able to host that for the employees.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to send a picture, from that event or whatever, we're happy to also include that on the show.
Okay, that would be great. We'll do that as well. But
Okay.
yeah, I was saying the month of May, it's a culmination of uh, coming to almost to the end of our fiscal year, which ends June 30th. So we're kind of not winding down, but basically knowing that our spending is, has to be a little bit less in the last month just to make sure we meet our budget goals and, don't overspend. We also, have a lot of things that we've completed for the year. So we're glad to be through or getting through the end of the fiscal year.
Right. Then do you get to take a little break?
Just a little. We run right into the audit. Once we end up
Oh,
finishing the budget, we start the audit process. So it's a never-ending cycle. But I'm thankful that we have a lot going on, a lot to work with. As a matter of fact, I'm very excited about the development on Highway 17. That's had some challenges, but I'm hopeful that we will, again, with our housing, wanting to promote more housing development. That project is very, I guess, one of the things that we're looking at closely right now. And again, can't avoid the homeless situation. We are working diligently on both sides of that, trying to see, what resources are there to help with that situation, as well as, responding to the community's concerns in regards to how the homeless are managed in the city.
right. Are there any new developments on that? Anything new y'all are going to be trying, or is it just sort of still figuring out the best plan?
Yeah, well, the county and the city are working together, and we are working with local agencies. There's a lot of resources in the community. It's just trying to match those resources with the people that are in need. We are looking at a lot of different areas of coordination, trying to find out if it would be helpful to have resources and personnel. We visited Savannah in March. That was another thing that we did. Took a group of 12 people to Savannah. And one of the components of our meeting there was to talk to the lady who's the executive director of the homeless authority. They have a person and a staff that, coordinates all of the efforts toward homelessness. So, we looked at that and talked with her, and we'll have some further conversations about how we may be able to invest in the coordination of the homeless effort here, because we have a lot of groups, the tiny homes, hand in hand, they are working diligently. The Veterans Village, they are building, to get their community set. We have Saved by Grace that's working, and their Salvation Army, United Way, Safe Harbor, just a lot of resources, Gateway in the community that are out there, and just knowing those resources and utilizing them to the best capacity, I think, is what we're aiming to do.
Yes, yes. And I'm sure that's sort of ever changing. Just when you think you have everything, everybody's, helping in it, it's like something changes and there's a new need or more of a need, or it's like, how do you address the ever changing situation?
Yeah, that's one that's, as you can see nationwide, I don't know if anybody has really been able to totally, mitigate homelessness. I mean, you look at communities. I read a report the other day that talked about some of the successes that Atlanta has had in, the homeless, decrease in the homeless population. But, the perception, you still go to Atlanta and you still see a lot of homeless people, especially in the downtown areas and, around and about. So, it's something that I think everybody is investing in and trying to help and provide resources for. But I don't know if it's something that any of us can ever, eliminate completely.
Right, right. Work in progress for sure. Continuing effort.
Yeah. So, tomorrow is First Friday.
Yeah.
And first Friday, it's Cinco de Mayo. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of celebrating and a lot of activity going downtown and around different places. So that's exciting for
Very.
May.
Yes. Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah. Yeah,
Nice.
so that should be good. And of course, I always, it's funny. I think about Mother's Day during the month of May, and I do have three children, but I always think more of my mother than me as a mother.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting. I always, focus so much on my mom, and my mom passed a couple of years ago, but I'm still, when I think of Mother's Day, I don't think about celebrating myself so much. I think about celebrating her.
Right. Absolutely. That's maybe the way it should be. That's the good way to do it. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, happy Mother's Day coming
Well,
up.
thank you. I appreciate that very much.
Yes. Well, let's talk about, you said there might be a kite day or something you were.
Yeah, well, we normally have the kite flying day, and that's why I have my kite in the back. But yeah, we normally have that. I'll have to find out if it's something that's going to happen this year. Usually it's through the Downtown Development Authority, so I'll have to look at their calendar and see if it's something that will come about for this year.
Right, right. Okay. Sounds good. Anything else for May?
Well, just trying to get through. Like I said, it's an unending challenge of things that are happening in the city. I think, the city is, we're cleaning up, we're doing a lot of trying to code enforcement. They are working really hard on illegal dumping and, areas of the city. We had a big cleanup on Saturday with Keep Golden Owls Beautiful, where people were all around the city cleaning up areas, picking up tires and mattresses and things that were discarded along the side of the road and that kind of thing. So had a lot of that going on. So, we're just ready for the year end for fiscal year, but just trying to make sure we are, getting all of the things done that we need done before hurricane season, of course. But we do have some hurricane preparedness things that are happening and getting ready for that.
Yes, and we're happy to include that maybe this summer or something if there's any information you'd like to include. But I will say just the buzz about Brunswick, we should call it Brunswick buzz. People are really talking about it in a good way. I mean, obviously they're not everything's perfect, but everybody's talking about how, there's so much going on downtown. The people are sort of out and about between music, First Friday, the restaurants. I think there was a new maybe hotel and some rooftop seating and just it's really kind of I think starting to blossom for sure. And so that's exciting to hear. There's only most positive comments about Brunswick right now.
Yeah. As any city, we struggle, to make sure that our downtown areas are clean and safe and people inviting and engaging. It's funny that you said the Brunswick Buzz because that was one of the suggested names of the transit system is the Brunswick Buzz. So
Not
that may
that.
be something we see going forward.
Yes, yes. I mean, I think people would be excited to be able to, especially like on First Friday. How nice would that be to have some transportation to get to and from and whatever, just as an example. So I think lots of great ideas, and it just seems like they're all starting to come together. So good job. I know it's a lot with the budget, but we appreciate your time and happy May and happy Mother's Day.
Well, thank you. Happy Mother's Day to you as well. And happy Memorial Day coming up in May. We'll have, a little bit of time off for our employees. So have a good holiday during the month. And then we'll get ready for June, where we have Juneteenth. That'll be coming up. And I think there'll be a lot of celebrations surrounding that and got some other things going forward. So again, it's always something going on. We are always busy, always, working to meet the needs of our citizens, and just excited about what's going on in Brunswick.
Yes, yes. Well, lots of exciting things. So everybody is obviously working together to make it all happen. So good to see, good to hear about.
Thank you. You have a great day.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.